Hello, welcome back to another video. As you can probably tell by the title, this is going to be entirely based on the Beast of Nurgles and mostly the hitboxes. So the main crux of this video is that you can do this. You can hit Beast of Nurgle's weak points with melee from anywhere, no matter your angle, which is pretty crazy. And this actually works with light attacks too, at least on the dueling sword. I'll get deeper into specific weapons later. But essentially, if your weapon attack starts at the weak spot, then you're gonna get the hit on the weak spot. And the dueling sword, I believe, starts its hitbox at the tip, which is why it's really easy to do it with this. As you can see, even when I'm just light spamming, almost every hit is a weak point hit. And with heavies, it's just super easy because the hitbox just goes right to the back, and therefore it gets those weak point hits. This works with a lot of weapons, melee weapons specifically. For example, like anything with like a thrust, essentially. You can just reach to the back of it super easily. As you can see, Uncanny's building up. And you can see those sweet, wider attacks hitting the arms first, which is why I'm not getting that. However, with the poke attacks, it's really easy to hit that weak point. Again, these are just examples. Force Greatsword. You can do it with this too. You can do it with both the overhead and the poke, because the attack just starts at the tip, which means you can actually just go right through like that. You do need to make sure that hits first though, or else you're gonna hit the head like that. So if you just like angle it correct, once that guy explodes, if you just angle it correct, then you should be able to hit the weak spot basically every single time. And this is full weak spot damage, like, you can see that damage, exact same hitting the weak spot. The only difference this would make is on weapons with a backstab multiplier, such as knives, which I'll show off now. Combat knife, because this actually has 25% increased damage on backstabs. It's also really hard to do with the knife, because, as you can probably tell, it has a very short range. If you really try, you can eventually get it. So yeah, this isn't made for the knife, really. As you can tell, it's just really annoying to actually get that hit. On the sides like this, it's a lot easier with that side attack. But again, it's really difficult on the knives, because it doesn't really have a thrust attack. Although with the Mark 6, it does have that poke attack on the push, which lets you do this. As you can see, some of those, actually, in fact, every single hit basically is hitting that weak point. All those 700s, 1000s, that's the push attack. And the extra damage is because, obviously, knives have that 25% increased damage on backstabs, as I mentioned. But yeah, so the Mark 3 knife can't really do it, but anything with a thrust can super easily do it, or super long range, which the knife clearly isn't. What else? That's basically every psycho weapon that can do that. Before I move on to show off everything else, every other melee weapon that can do that, I did also want to mention that Beast of Nurgle actually have very strange ranged hitboxes. So you'd think like, well, there's only just the weak point at the back, but it turns out this mouth is actually a weak point for ranged attacks only. As you can see, if I attack with my melee attack, nothing happens. That was a crit, I believe. Yeah. As you can see, at any angle, this is a crit, not crit, weak point. It is also the exact same weak point multiplier as the back, which is very strange. See, if you're shooting the Beast of Nurgle, shoot it in the mouth, because that's actually weak point damage. Same with the back, but obviously it's a lot easier to do this from the front. Like if you're being targeted, you're still able to maintain full DPS without even getting behind it. That's basically it for ranged attacks. So yeah, you can actually shoot the mouth and the back with ranged attacks. And ranged attacks only. You can also do this with the voice strike, which is pretty funny. But yeah, as you can see, I'm getting no crits no weak point hits with the knife while I'm poking his head. I also shown a diagram on the screen right now, which should be there if I remember like a genius I am. So essentially the diagram's just showing where you shouldn't attack. As you can see, the orange, not attack, what's called, the red obviously first is the tail. That takes super reduced damage, so just never attack there. The body and arms actually take slightly more damage, but like, it's still really low, so obviously don't aim there too. The yellow in the first image obviously shows off that the mouth is a ranged weak point. Do not use your melee there, unless you obviously have like a poke type melee, in which case you're thrusting through into the green weak point on the right. And then, yeah, pretty self-explanatory diagram. You can't actually attack the hair, which is pretty funny, as you can see here. And yeah, actually I'll just show up the damage, I guess. You can see 38 there. Meanwhile here it's 107. And the head actually has its own multiplier, I guess, or like damage difference. The arms are the same as the body. Mouth not increased with the thing. It's the same as just the head on melee. However, you swap to ranged, it gets those weak points. Back also weak point, and you can crit with your melee. So that's, yeah, basically it when it comes to Beast of Nurgles and the really strange weak points. Honestly, I did not know about this until recently. Well, I did know about the backstab for a long time. But yeah, that's the Beast of Nurgles. Hopefully that has taught you, I guess, how the hit point, what's called weak points work for this guy. And you know where to aim now. So yeah, that's basically it. I'll show off a list of, I guess, a compilation of every melee that can hit it, which is basically every melee in the game. So yeah, you just watch that if you want, and have a good day. Also do some testing if you want. Bye-bye.